Hello, Baron Dipitus here with another video for the Board Game Shelf, and here we've got Star Realms, my favorite deck building game out there. I really love playing Aeon's End, and I love playing Dominion, but Star Realms, oh boy, I love this. I love this game. First of all, the art is beautiful. This is like my favorite space game ever. I think I was thinking a little bit more because in my Masters of the Galaxy video, I was kind of talking a little bit, kind of ruminating a little bit about why I don't like space board games, or I haven't found them as enjoyable as I thought. Because I love space and and everything, and I've always loved things that have to do with like outer space and everything like that. But I think most space themed board games are just like complicated and complex games. Not that I don't like more complex games, obviously, but I think I like space when it's just like simple exploration, or just simply enjoying space for what it is, essentially. And I get a lot of that from Star Realms. So I have basically everything there, almost everything there is for Star Realms, except for like some of the newer products, essentially. But all the core sets, like they're all in here somewhere, basically. Um, I know there are other storage solutions that put them all in like one box or something, but I do like these smaller boxes that sort of contain various bits and pieces and stuff. So and also this is kind of interesting, right? Like the way this is packaged and the way these cards kind of slot in is very interesting to me. But yeah, I've labeled everything. Let's see here. I think there's a lot of these sort of like extra kind of stuff, and I think some of the core decks are in here, I believe. Yeah. So what we have here is we have the core set back there, as well as the Colony Wars set. And then here are like a bunch of the basic cards: Scouts, Vipers, Explorers, scorecards, promos, and yeah, I kept a list of like the various sets and expansions and stuff. But yeah, so when it comes to like the core experience, that's what this box is, right? And then when it comes to various like add-ons and like expansions you can add to your game, that's what this box is. Okay, well, for the most part. So we got um, we have gambits, um, events, missions, scenarios, heroes, bases and battleships, and fleets and fortresses, and assault slash command. And we have high alert, and then we also have the command decks, which you could play these by themselves. Like each command deck is like um, you start with basically a character and their associated deck, and you just start with that. And then we have Frontiers, which is its own standalone thing, just like the core set, as well as Colony Wars. But also Frontiers has kind of like a little miniature kind of like campaign kind of a thing where you can go against a particular enemy or something, right? And you can kind of make a little story out of these things. So yeah, the lore of Star Realms is pretty straightforward. They haven't developed it like too deeply, honestly, but I still really love it. So there's basically four different factions represented by these four symbols here. So we have the Trade Federation, we have the Machine Cult, we have the Star Empire, I think it's the Empire or something like that, and then we have the Blobs, essentially. And each of these factions has a mechanical difference. Just like any other like deck building game, you start with like a very basic deck, and then you choose like, and then you build a store of cards that you can basically purchase from to make your deck better. So, oh boy, here we go. So yeah, what I love about Star Realms is just how simple it is. Like all you see are just like some symbols, basically, with a little bit of actually no, that's like some lore, some quotes and stuff. The cost is up here, right? You can see the faction in that corner, right? And it's just the four factions, and yeah, it's just that simple. So the yellow circle is money. It's like like your coin and stuff. So this costs two, or I think it actually is called cost. But when you play this card, you get two coin, basically two cost, to credit, whatever you call it, to buy more ships. And you also get four authority points. Authority points are your health in this game. You start with like I think 50 authority points, and you lose when you get to zero, but you win if you get your opponent's authority points to zero. So the Trade Federation, the blue faction, is all about giving you lots of authority points and lots of money as well. Trade Federation. It makes sense. Also, a lot of cards will have like a faction symbol on it. This is an ability that is activated if you have another card of that symbol on the same turn. So if I have another like Trade Federation card that I play at the same time I play this cutter, then I also get 4 combat points. I can use combat to basically, that's how you reduce authority points. And there's also various bases like this that will have a shield. And so you can use that to, you can use combat points to attack bases, and you can also use combat to reduce your opponent's authority to or health to 0. Some bases have this black shield, which means that you have to attack that base before you attack your opponent's authority. If it's a silver shield, then it's optional. You can keep it there. But bases have sort of a static effect usually. So sometimes you'll want to get rid of the bases just so that they don't benefit from that. Some cards also have this trash symbol, which means that you can basically toss this out of the game to get that benefit. But yeah. So Trade Federation, Star Empire, they're very, they give you a lot of combat points. This is a good example of that. They give you a lot of combat points, and also, I think more than anything, they're the faction that lets you force your opponent to discard cards, kind of like reducing your opponent's options. So if you want to make your opponent lose cards in their hand, they're just discarding them, then that's what the Star Empire is for. The Blob is like this alien group. So anyway, Trade Federation is like the main power in the galaxy. Star Empire is like the sort of is the faction that's opposed to the Trade Federation, kind of like people going their own way against the Trade Federation. The Blob is this strange alien race, kind of like attacking humanity essentially, and they do give you a lot of combat points, like definitely, like they're probably the strongest one in terms of combat in general. And then finally, the Machine Cult. That's a bad example here. Let me try to. Here we go. The Machine Cult lets you scrap cards. It lets you kind of like remove cards from your deck that you don't like. So if you're going for efficiency, you want the Machine Cult. This kind of like this faction that worships machines and stuff like that, and and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you can scrap cards, take them out of your deck to make them leaner and more efficient. And that's basically it. So the core set will have a set of cards. The Colony Wars has a different set of cards you can have in the shop with sort of some added like mechanics. There's a little bit of a story here because in the core set of Star Realms, the story is that like humanity is it's been like millennia. It's millennia, and it's like hundreds, if not thousands of years in the future. Humanity is sort of like existing and everything. Colony Wars, that's kind of like the factions are battling for various different control of different colonies, colony planets for resources. And Frontiers is everyone's like trying to push the boundaries and try to find new places to like settle and claim as their own essentially. And then, of course, things like gambits and commanders and whatever kind of add a little bit more to that. One neat thing about commander cards, by the way, let me see if I can find, or heroes, I should say, heroes and commanders. Generally, they are, oh gosh, I was trying to find an actual hero somewhere in there. Hard to get these things out. That's not a good example either. I'm trying to find one that has a human face. I pulled a blob hero here. I can. Why do I keep doing that? All right. Here, I'm just going to pull them all out. There's clearly some kind of there's clearly a dedicated Star Realm community. I'm just not as aware of it like personally, but clearly there is because here we go. For example, this CEO Shanner, a hero card associated with the Trade Federation. That's an actual person. Like that's someone. Whenever the people who made this game, Wise Wizard Games, had like some kind of event or tournament or something, they generally have like tournament winners. One of the prizes you get for their tournaments is to actually have your face on a card. So that's what Confessor Morris. So you get to be part of the Star Realms universe essentially, which I think is really cool. That's really cool that they do that. There's a little bit of story and like lore. Like I found some like short story blogs that are on the Wise Wizard Games website and stuff. There also is an app, like a digital version of Star Realms that has a little bit of a like story mode in it, but it's just a very simple and very clean and very beautiful and fun deck building game, and I'm very happy to have it. In fact, actually, I'm very excited about a new Star Realms game that's coming out later this year. I forgot what it's called, but basically, I'm calling it Star Realms Legacy because it is a legacy game of Star Realms. My wife and I are excited about it, where one player is the Trade Federation and the other player is the Star Empire, and you're trying to battle it out, and you modify your cards and stuff. And there's also like some new factions that sort of like help out as well. How about the different sides? Yeah, it's just a really cool like light like I know that I'm like the Brawlhalla lore master, and I love getting deep into the lore of my favorite like game worlds and stuff like that. But sometimes lore doesn't have to be that deep. Like there certainly is a lot of potential for like stories and things like that in with Star Realms, but it's just good light fun, and obviously galactic combat is a very sort of like can be very like serious dramatic kind of thing, but yeah, I don't know, it's just there's just something really just like it's just good fun and just like very very straightforward deck building game that I just love playing. So yeah, and the artwork and everything is just fantastic. Really, it just really captures my imagination. And I feel like bigger games like bigger space games like Master of the Galaxy or goodness gracious Twilight Imperium, especially fourth edition, they just like you know it's like space, but it's like much more complicated and complex. And I think I like space games that like keep space like. I guess those complex space games are not as mysterious to me. Essentially, there's not as much wonder to them. But here, that wonder is there to me anyway, and I love it. So, anyway, but yeah, that concludes my sort of little chat about Star Realms. I look forward to the Star Realms Legacy game. I think it's Rise of the Empire is what it's called. Star Realms Rise of the Empire, of the Star Empire. Yeah, because the Star Empire is like coming into its own and attacking the Trade Federation. I'll also say as well that this is the last Board Game Shelf video that covered, well, not the last Board Game Shelf video, but this is the last game that's on my like big Calyx shelves, basically. Like we finally reached the end of that, which means that the only games that remain would be either newer games that we've acquired, or also mostly it's like we have a couple of like smaller boxes with a bunch of like smaller games. Like we're talking like single decks of cards sort of games like Uno or whatever. But we have a bunch of like smaller games that we have in smaller boxes. So those are going to be next. But as far as the big board game shelves, they've all been covered now. So unless there's like newer games that we get, like for those bigger board game shelves, we're not going to go. Obviously, I'll cover those as new games come along if and when we buy any new ones. But now we're on to like the little bins with the smaller games in them, and that's cool. Wow, yeah, a lot of videos, but they're fun. I enjoy doing these, honestly. I enjoy talking about the games and kind of like making a sort of kind of a casual record of my board game library and also other like game libraries I have. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, all the best.